Haunted Live. We are in Morecambe in the Winter Gardens Theatre, abandoned and derelict since 1977, but the team, the investigation team, are in a very different building. They're a matter of mere miles from here, in a house that saw, in the 1930s, a particularly grisly double murder which involved the dismemberment of the corpses. The victims' bodies were then transported, we've yet to find out where, but Kieran O'Keefe was asking our medium and clairvoyant, Chris Conway, what might have happened. We took a break. Here's what they said.
Sorry, he's telling me to answer you. He's talking to me. He's saying he should have known better.
He should have known better?
He should have known better. And he says that's one thing that's embarrassed him. Because he's been caught with something that he should have known, and he's not going to tell me.
So he was caught for this crime?
But he's saying the gentleman will tell you. The gentleman, although he's saying...
Gentleman,
he should have known better.
Yeah, I understand.
Do you?
The significance of that,
yeah.
Okay.
I can tell you now, we can wait a bit.
Tell me now.
More phenomenal. Dealing with somebody who's forensically aware, trying to cover up their crime, and like Chris was saying, dispose of the bodies, and yet he made a vital error in the disposal of the bodies. He left a clue with the disposal that kind of gave the police enough information to trace it back from the disposal of the bodies right to him.
Okay. How interesting. This is the most, I have to say, it's the most fascinating story I think we've come across.
It's very strange for me because...
It is a fascinating story, and we have our experts here, John Callow and Fred Batt, to unpick some of those details. Fred, first of all, and very quickly please, those names. We had Isabella, we had Mary Rogerson or May Rogerson. How accurate is that? And the date, autumn 35.
Absolutely spot on, 1st of September 1935. Buck Ruxton, as he was known then, he came from Bombay in 1899, and another name that Chris picked up was Rostomi, which was one of his names. It was Bakhtiar Rostomi Ratanji Hakim, and he changed his name to Buck Ruxton when he came here and became a GP, and he was loved by people. He was really good with them. If they didn't have enough money, he'd waive the fees. But on 15th of September 1935, he murdered his wife and then his housekeeper. But for more details on it, I'll pass you over to John, because he's got the whole story on that.
Okay, and again, we don't want to talk too much until we get more evidence from the visual location, but what would life have been like for this man who's come from a very different world? He's Asian before there were an awful lot of Asian people living in this country, and he's a professional. What challenges would he have faced, John?
He'd have had enormous challenges. British society then was very different to that which it is today. It wasn't the same multicultural, multiracial society we all know and inhabit in the British Isles since the 1960s. It was a very rigid class society, so not only are you dealing with a man of culture, but a man of education, who therefore, especially with having a wife who had been married once before, and also of a different ethnic background, would have felt particularly sensitive, I think, because of his intelligence, his culture, his background, and being in an entirely different society, rather parochial, market town, and to be a community leader who really lacked the kind of status of other GPs or people around him. Added to this, Paul, of course, he'd also been to Edinburgh, the Athens of the North, where 3 times he failed his medical exams. So on top of this guy knowing he's bright, knowing he's handsome, knowing he's intelligent, having to contend with probably an area of latent racism, he's also dealing with wondering, is he actually good enough at his job to make it in the society?
A fascinating, a very challenging, a very dangerous individual. Yvette Fielding and the team are about to embark. They may have started a séance in the murderer's house. Let's go straight back.
I heard that.
That was right by Stuart and myself. Okay, you're all right, Carl? You feeling sick?
When you said you were taking a bit strange earlier. Well, I had to sit down in a chair because I thought I was going to go over.
Yeah.
And I just felt like I could throw up any second.
I can second that because I sat down next to him saying, do you want me to go and get you a bowl or something for you to be sick in?
You're right. Must be the energy. Okay, you ready?
Phone.
Phone again.
I'll be downstairs.
But why is it just one ring?
Are you ready? Just so you know, we put marbles in the centre of the table. If the table starts to shake, the weirdest thing is a pen top is actually on top of the table. We've left it where it is because it just appeared. We all turned round and no one amongst us has put the pen top on. It's a strange thing. We don't understand why it's there or who's put it there. So it might not be paranormal, but we've left it there just because it's a little bit strange. Kieran is right down the corridor, and the rest of the team here, Max, Simon, Nick, Daniel.
What the
Come on,
was that?
yes, I heard that, loud and clear.
What was it? I didn't hear it.
It was a breath or something.
I heard that, yeah. I heard that.
Okay, let's start. Buck Ruxton, murderer, are you here? Are you here, sir? We're told you're here.
And again, definitely there.
Did you pick that up, Matt?
It was like a laughing whisper.
Can I tell you he's telling you to call him doctor?
Don't call him
No,
doctor.
he's telling you to call him doctor.
Well, don't then, don't.
I'm not going to call you doctor. You don't deserve it because you're a murdering git, aren't you, really? I'm doing that. The reason why I'm doing that is because I want a reaction from
Yeah.
him. Do you think by talking to him like that I'm going to get a reaction, Chris?
Oh yeah,
Again?
possibly. Yeah.
Did you not hear that?
No, 'cause I'm
Yes, I heard that.
There's another. There's a.
Oh, God.
Speak to us, please. The spirit of Buck Ruxton, or whatever your name, table's shaking. Okay, listen. Table's shaking. Talk to us, please, sir. Talk to us, please. Talk to us. Use this table. Use our energy. Make noises with your voice. Tell us why you murdered your wife. Why did you murder Isabella? Try and use your own voice. Can you move an object here, please? Tell us that you are here.
Who did that?
I just breathed in and out. I went.
Is that you moving your feet, Kath?
No,
I heard tapping.
I'm stiff as
I'll
a
just
board.
put mine flat on the floor.
Are you a murderer? Is there a murderer present here with us now? Touch one of us. Touch me. There's the phone going again. Touch me. Touch Chris. Touch Kath. Stuart. Carl. Anybody.
Did anyone hear that?
No,
I
what was
heard
it?
it like a breath.
Took a really long breath.
What was it? Arch, I've taken my
Okay,
earpiece out, but if you can,
Oh,
listen
you're
back to all these things. You alright, Carl?
He had his head back on the wall like that,
Oh,
but
yeah.
he was just trying to get 5 minutes in.
I'm not good at all, to
You alright? Do you want to leave?
Uh-uh.
Okay. See these marbles on the table? Can you pick them up and move them? Can you make a noise in this room?
I can hear that, yeah.
What's he saying?
He's evil. It's horrible, isn't it?
Oh yeah, this man is evil. But so calm.
Can you ask him, Chris?
When
Phone
you
ringing?
ask him why he killed his wife, he just keeps saying, she was a slut.
Why was she a slut? The table is shaking.
Carl, you don't look well, mate.
I don't feel well at all.
You alright? Do you want to leave? Do you want to get out of the atmosphere? Why was she a slut? Why did you want to kill her? What had she done?
He says you...
What?
He says the way she looked at other men.
Oh,
Yeah.
so you were jealous.
He says I wasn't jealous. He says she
No,
was...
you were jealous.
He's-
You pathetic, jealous man.
He's saying I wasn't jealous.
Oh,
He's
you
saying she's
are.
a...
Come on, let's have an argument. Come on, let's have an argument. Are you hearing stuff, Kieran?
Yeah, you know you're hearing phones occasionally.
Yes.
Leave that aside, like Carl said, it could be somebody calling in.
Yeah.
Every time we hear a phone at that far end, I'm there with Rob, we're taking the phone off the hook. We're standing at the far end, we've taken 8 phones off the hook, and one of the phones went off right next to us.
Yeah.
One of the phones where it was off the hook.
Get off.
Now I don't know if anybody at home or anybody back in the studio can explain, the telephone exchange here, but the phone was ringing and the phone was off the hook.
Wow. How impressed are you?
I'm very impressed. I'm going to
Good.
get back down there and stay there
Okay.
and start filming.
Okay. What's the matter, Chris?
Do you remember I was saying he couldn't harm us physically?
Yeah.
He just walked right behind me and jabbed us right in between.
Has he?
Yep.